Hello, it's Jesse here, and what we got here is a Prestolite starter from a Norton Mk3. This starter is used in other motorcycles, of course, but this certain parts to it matter what kind of bike it goes to, of course, how it mounts and everything. So stay tuned, and we'll be working on this here starter. Right here is the end cover on the starter. Originally it had a brass bushing in here, kind of wore out, so we're giving it a needle bearing upgrade. There's a lot of in particular things about this starter that we'll go over as we're building this thing, but stay tuned here. We'll be pressing this in here pretty soon. Okay, well, first off, we're going to start talking about some history here. 1975, the Norton Mk3, a lot of first year things and only year things started happening there, including the starter, electric starter. The only British bikes, the only other British bike that had a starter at about the same time was the Triumph Trident. The Bonneville, it didn't get its starter. It was an option in 81, and then 82 and 83 it started being on there for all the time. But a lot of them didn't get, a lot of them later 80s, like 82 and 83, didn't really come into the United States as much. But anyway, a lot of the other British bikes like the BSA, they'd already been done making motorcycles by 75. And then, yeah, so this was pretty much a secondary starter at this time, because you still had the primary for the kicker. There were some things that could have been better with this starter, and that would have made this a better success, but anyway, we'll probably talk about some of them things as we go along here on this rebuild on this Prestolite starter here. Alright, so first off here, we're gonna start press that needle bearing in the back of this end cover. It's kind of an upgrade from the bushing, like I said, that was in here originally. So help it spin.
We don't need dirt. There, now I don't have to press so far.
There you go. Nothing to that.
There it is.
Next, we're going to be putting this tension washer in here, so it just, you know, it doesn't float around. It just like stays still and up against the armature of the starter. Grease the bearing, of course.
Kind of got that up in the air, kind of too far.
Yeah, move the grease around in there. Nice. There's no way of putting this grease in back in again unless we take it apart. So this is like a don't fail here kind of a thing.
Okay, we got some grease on it. Excess pushed out.
Alright, so we're going to start working on putting this starter back together. So we just got done pressing this bearing in here. Upgrade it from the bushing that was in there. And then we need to replace the brushes here on this starter. Or at least one of them anyway, right?
Well, we're going to replace both. We got a new one here, but this one doesn't require any work. It just, this pulls off and this one goes on. So
Okay. These these new brushes, or are these
New brushes.
are better brushes?
No, new brushes.
Just new brushes, okay.
And a lot bigger. I just cut that off.
Yeah, right.
Now it fell off. But anyway, you can see that this brush was about wore out completely.
Oh yeah.
Going to be really close to the wire there. So now what we got to do is there's a little copper wire here, or I don't know,
Clamp.
clamp, I
Clip.
guess. And there's already one on here. So it says to put this, according to the picture, it shows to put that brass strip around like that. Leave the wire long enough to where you can do that. I left it long enough.
Yeah, because there's no going back, because these
I
coils,
cut
you can't, they don't like clamp on there or screw on or anything.
And I could do it this way too, I think, but then it might be too long, I think is what the reasoning is. So I get it. So we're going to collapse that down a little ways, and we will see what we can get done here. Hopefully we can clamp this thing on here. Yeah. I'm trying to wrap it around in a circle there, if you see.
Yeah, because we really want to get a good grip on that.
Yeah, I'm going to pull it up a little bit now. But I'm behind this one.
Right.
So I'm going to bring this around now. Because the next step is we got to solder this.
Oh, nice. So that'll help hold it together.
Yeah. But we got to get this tight first. Well, tight as I can get it. There. I think that looks good.
Yeah.
Or we could trim off a little bit. I don't know. I think it'll be fine.
All right. So get the solder gun going here.
Now, we got to do this relatively quick.
Yeah, because it only absorbs.
We don't want it to spread too far. As soon as this gets hot and melts, tins the edge, tins the tip. There we go.
And you're going to be able to draw it all into
We'll
it.
see it. We'll see it raw. I think that's good. We'll see what the other side looks like. Well, maybe I'll add some more over there. I don't want to do it too long. It says in the instructions, don't do it too long, because it'll crawl all the way up to and make it stiff and not flex.
Yeah, you just want to be able to get these two to be able to be joined right here.
Right.
You know, I think you got it.
Okay. Okay, I moved it away so it don't touch the, I moved it back this way so it don't touch the housing.
Right.
Now we're going to take this one off. I'm going to put it the same way. This one's the easy one. Well, maybe. It doesn't want to slide in here, I guess. There's a... I'm going to have to get a little file burr in there. There's a... Maybe I think I need to use this one instead. Let's see how this works now. Wow. It looks like that whole bump's got to come off of there.
It's just a molding defect.
Yeah. Well, I could probably tap it on, but I don't. Since it's a nylonish plastic, I'm not so sure I want to do that. I think I want to just file that off. I want it to push down and off like the other one did. Well, getting a little closer. It's getting harder to get off there. Oh, I pushed pretty hard.
Okay, I think we're getting close now. Took enough off there.
Get rid of all the little burrs. Now let's see. Brush was facing this direction. Hey, look at there. It's just like the other one did. Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Now. Okay. Next step is getting the brush holder in place and put the brushes in. We gotta put the springs in.
Yeah, springs first in this style.
And then the brush. First, I gotta go back to how this was. Let's see here.
All right, we gotta put the brush holder in now.
Okay, the brush holder goes into these round slots. There's a cutout right here for this square deal. That's got to fit in there just like that. This has got to be up there. And it snaps in kind of hard. There. There. It's in. And the brushes go in like this.
Got the springs there for us.
Like that. Oop. Like that.
You gotta hold that in while you slide the armature through.
Yeah, it's fun.
Wow, it's gonna be great.
It doesn't want to stay down there very good. It's maybe just shade oversized. We should stay in there better. But it is what it is. Really? Maybe if it's this side better. This is fun stuff. Okay. Good. Some of these motors,
To hold that one.
some of these motors I've done had pinholes
All right, I got it.
that held a brush in place while you did this.
And then what? You pull the pin out.
And then after you get the armature in, you pull the pins out. Come on. There we go. Okay, now we got to hold it. Okay, now we got to put this in here.
Got it?
Yeah, well, we're in here, but we're not in here. Okay. Let's put this back. There we go.
Okay.
Move your finger. There. It's in.
So, yep.
Okay.
Now we got our spring washer there.
Yep.
And then our,
there's a flat washer.
and then our flat washer.
And we got to put an end cap in here. Now, the bolts got to slide through. Now, there is a number 1 and a number 2. The number 1 goes up high on with this all. So,
Okay.
let's see, where is, yeah, it goes this way. Number 1, right here. It's this way. Well, we got to make sure this is snapped in there first. It stays there.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Now put the end cover on.
Now we got to put the end cover on. This part here with the round holes out. And there is a divot. Right there's the divot. That lines up with the number 1. There should be a hole right here.
Right.
Hold that in there.
Yep.
Keep it in.
Yeah. Hold it.
Faith that that's gonna pop in.
Right. When the cover like engages the body, it should probably like pull it down.
There's holes in there.
Yeah.
Yep, it's going together.
That didn't seem too hard.
Oh well.
Spin freely.
Yep.
It does have a little spring action to it. The washer in there.
Yep. So it should be ready to go.
Awesome.
The next step is we could actually test this.
Yeah, maybe we should test it. All right, stay tuned here. All right, here we are now. We're ready to test this starter here. So 75 Nortons were positive ground. So this is the negative terminal here. And then we'll use this little screw on the end here as the positive. So this thing all works. It just spin pretty fast. So
Hold on to it.
I'm going to hold it so I don't jump around, of course. Yeah, I'm ready. All right. I'd say it works. All right, here we are. We're back. Just got done testing this. The starter here. The starter is a good spare now. We're pretty happy about that because these are hard to find. Stopped making these about 20 years ago, and the ones they do make now are just aren't the same. And I don't know, it's just something I don't want to put on the bike. So I'm glad that we have a spare for the one that was on it. It works pretty good, but this one works just as good. So I'll go on the shelf with the spare parts. Earlier I was talking about in this video the 75 when the Mark III came out, this electric starter option. And then there was actually another bike that had the electric starter. 64, somewhere in there, there was the Norton Electra that had a starter. It wasn't very popular. That ended up being the last time they ever put an electric starter on a bike until the Mark III came out in 75. Unfortunately, the starter was kind of too late because in 75 was kind of the last year that Norton wasn't available in the United States. There was some 76s and 77s last produced, like handfuls, but they never really made it to the United States. And so just didn't come out fast enough. And yeah. All right, so here we go. Here was the original brush holder. We didn't see that earlier, but this is definitely one that was needing replacing, so we put a different one in. The brushes, they were pretty wore down. Actually, this part here is a little bit longer, so yeah, it was pretty wore. And then the wire was like that. One of the major problems with this starter when it came out was the wiring for it. This is the starter solenoid and the wire hookup here for this starter. This is kind of like considered wimpy wire. And what would happen was it wouldn't. What's the best way to explain this? Maybe you can explain it better.
It didn't leave enough amperage or give enough amperage through it. So what would happen is you'd hit the button and it wouldn't spin the motor over. Everybody blamed the starter being a 2-brush being the problem. So people put 4-brush starters on it, converted Sportster starters, because they used the same starter basically except for the end cap. So it wasn't until later, well, way later, after Norton kind of went out of production, somebody stumbled across, I don't know who it is, but somewhere along the line, somebody figured out that if you just replace these cables with number 4 gauge braided and uprated cables, kind of like, mostly like what the Harleys are using, and some of the other larger motorcycles on their starter cables. They don't use 10 gauge. And it's like a miracle when I put number 4 gauge on my solenoid from the battery to the ground, everything. All 3 cables, I replaced it with that. My 2-brush just spins my motor. I can't let go of the button fast enough, and that thing will just start just instantly with a plain old 2-brush. The 2-brush is just a perfect starter. It's what it was designed for, and it actually works if you got a good enough battery in it. That's the other secret. You got to have a good battery. So anyway, that's my take on it, and that's it.
Cool. Well, yeah, that's well said. So yeah, well, we'll move on to something else now, but hope you enjoyed this and this old starter thing here. It's too bad that British bikes really didn't get the starter very fast and across the entire field before a lot of them stopped production. But yeah, but anyway, that's a different story someday. So. All right, so here's a Norton 75 Norton Mark III with a electric starter in it. Of course, it has the, you can see here we got the upgraded cables in this bike, and this is pretty much how it should start right up with that all set up just right. So let's see what happens here. Yeah, nothing to it when it's all working properly. Well, I hope you enjoyed all this, and stay tuned to other exciting things going on around here. So, see you again soon.